Good morning. It is a very hot and humid day here on Long Island, New York, and today I'm in a 2011 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 10 GSR sound package. So to just go over some basic stats about the Evo X or the Evo 10, it is a 2.0 four-cylinder turbo all-wheel drive with a 5-speed manual. From factory, the Evo 10 comes with 303 horsepower and 305 torque. Those are some pretty impressive numbers for a 4-cylinder turbo, especially a 2-liter. I mean, it's a small engine, it's got a turbo, and it makes 300 horsepower from 2011. I mean, the new Civic Type R makes 305 horsepower, something like that, you know, and it's a 2023, 2022. So pretty impressive how Mitsubishi was able to pump out that much power back then out of such a small engine. However, this specific Evo is not stock. It is modified to an extent. It has, I'm just gonna read off a parts list for you, a mods list. So we've got an intercooler, intake, exhaust, downpipe, injectors, fuel pump, aftermarket taillights, wheels, tires, and it's tuned. So with the tune on the dyno, it made about 367 at the wheels, and it made 401 torque. And this is on 93 pump gas. Very healthy tune, conservative to a degree. It's not, I think he said before it was making like 415 at the wheel, and then they dialed it down a little bit. Stock turbo, stock motor, unopened. Like, that is really impressive for a 2011 2.0 to be making 400 horsepower stock turbo, like just bolt-ons. That is a crazy deal. A lot of cars you get these days, like 4-cylinder turbos, you have to at least change a turbo before you hit 400. So yeah, starting off with the interior on this car, I know the Evo gets a lot of slack for being cheap on the interior, and head-to-head with the STI usually wins in terms of interior quality. But I really don't have that many complaints about the interior. I think it's honestly pretty nice. I've been in a lot of cars, and this doesn't feel overly cheap. It feels like they dialed down the interior quality to kind of give you that engine package that you get that is so well built. But the interior is not bad. Like, I like this little crosshatch thing they got going on with the plastic going on the thing. It almost looks like carbon fiber. I know it's not, but that brings the interior alive a lot. It really does a lot for the interior. It's got a nice little cluster. It's almost like a cat with two big eyes looking at you. It's got these two big gauges up front. You get the tachometer and the speedometer, and then a little bit of info in the middle. The dash definitely feels period correct to around 2011, but the rest of the interior does not feel very 2011. It feels a couple years dialed back, especially this radio situation. What is going on here? It's like I can't even imagine how hard it is to put an aftermarket radio in an Evo 10, just because of how complicated this is. Like, for a dash kit, you'd have to get vents and all this kind of stuff. So I can see why maybe a lot of people don't put an aftermarket sound system or radio stereo in an Evo 10. That is not so good, and it's kind of just old. Like, I've seen this in an 03 Accord. It looks the same. The seats are really freaking nice. They are Recaros, factory Recaros. They have really good bolstering, but they're not too skinny. So, like I said in the past, I'm a 32 waist, and some cars can fit really tight. Some cars can fit kind of loose and kind of like a couch. This feels really nice, and I do have a little bit of wiggle room left. So if you are a little bit bigger than a 32, 34 waist, like, I could see this car definitely fitting somebody who is a little bit larger. The rest of the interior quality, the touch points and everything, like, the touch points, like, okay, yeah, it's crunchy at, a lot of areas, but you're not buying the car for the luxury or the interior quality. You're buying it for the performance. But yeah, it's got a nice big back seat. Owner of this one actually has a child seat back here. This is his daily driver, and he's got a baby. So I guess this is the ultimate baby hauler, if you will. But it's got lots of headroom, tons and tons of headroom up here, and I still sit relatively high in the car. I'm not feeling like I'm like about to hit the ceiling, or I don't feel like I'm below the hood. And the window comes up so high on you. Like, this door, it comes up so high. It comes up over my shoulder. So you might look like you're sitting really low in it when somebody looks in, but you honestly don't feel that low when you're in the road. So the steering wheel is nice. It's a nice leather feel. It has some hand controls on it. I like the way it looks, honestly. It looks like a very cool wheel. I do like the simplicity of the interior. It's kind of like, hey, you're not buying this car for the interior. You're buying this car to go fast and to shred down some roads. So focus on that. Don't focus on the radio, But overall, really decent interior. I can't complain about it, but I'm not gonna write home about it. So with that being said, let's take the Evo 10 GSR on a little drive and see how it does. All right, so here we are in the Mitsubishi Evo 10. Has a nice blow-off valve sound. Car overall sounds pretty good. It's not very droney. It sounds good. It sounds really nice. Nice tone. Everything feels really stiff in here. The shifter is super notchy. The steering feels nice and tight. The brake pedal is like really hard, but in a good way, where you get a lot of feel from the road. It's really nice. It feels very driver oriented, very track oriented. That blow-off valve sounds so good. But overall, like the comfort, like daily drivability, it's the suspension isn't killing me. Like the seats are nice and comfy. I'm not uncomfortable. Like this feels like a pretty regular sedan, which is nice. The clutch is pretty easy to use for something having 400 foot-pounds of torque. It feels pretty dang good. Holy, it pulls. That took me by surprise. That was only like 4,000 RPM. That took me by surprise. He said the boost does start picking up around 3,500. I wanted one of these cars for a long time. I always thought they were so cool. And back when I bought my Golf R, it was kind of like a contest between the Mark 6 Golf R and the Evo 10 for me. All-wheel drive, 4-cylinder turbo, but I wound up getting a better deal on the Golf R. I picked mine up for like 11 grand. These Evos, they go for like anywhere from $20,000 to $35,000. I think just because of the rarity at this point. They're nice cars, but I can't say for sure they're worth $35,000 or $30,000, but who knows? Maybe they are. Some people really love them. I mean, a lot of the Evos you see are in really good condition because people care for them and they take care of them, which is a thing that I love to see. I hate when a car community will find one car and just trash it, like 350Zs or FRSs. You know, people aren't taking care of the car, but at the same time, they're having fun, they're driving it. So like, that's what cars were built for. Get out and drive it, you know? The throttle response is nice. It's there, it's very responsive. Oh my god, it just sucks you in. Jeez, it just pulls you right in. The shifter feels so good. I love how notchy it is. It doesn't feel like overwhelmingly stiff, but it's nice and notchy where it feels really good to shift with. The whole car feels really good, honestly. Very solid. Feels like a very normal car to drive. Like if this was just a regular Lancer, just normal day-to-day driving, it feels identical to like a regular Lancer. The suspension is not even bothering me. It doesn't feel overly stiff or rigid or like I'm in pain. It's comfy. Somewhere in Mexico, by the way. It has so much pull to it. Okay, first turn, let's see. Pretty good, pretty good. Fun car. Handling is great. It is uber planted. Feels really nice. It feels really, really good. Feels like a little spaceship sometimes. Oh my god, it has so much pull. Ah! The torque. The torque definitely is the driving factor here, not the horsepower. The torque is so fun. Oh my god, it just grabs you and it pulls you back into your seat. That is fun. That is really, really fun. But it feels so confident in doing so. It feels so planted, and it's so used to it. It's designed to handle that. doesn't exactly feel like it's stiffened up like crazy. I definitely feel that the suspension is more so tuned for daily ability, which makes a lot of sense considering this car is his daily driver. So why would he make it a track setup suspension when it's a daily driver? And plus, he's got a baby in the back. That baby doesn't need to be getting thrown around into these corners. Wow, the turning radius is bad. Wow, it has like 1.5 turns until the wheel is locked. And the radius is not great. I don't know, people rave over the Subi Rumble. I love the sound of this. It sounds so mean and aggressive. But the power band is super flat. Like, once you're in boost, it's very consistent. It's very predictable. It's not like I'm getting thrown off my seat. I'm getting sucked in and I'm being held there, which is really nice. It holds the power all the way through the band. Exactly what you want from turbo car. So, in comparison with its competition, which, if we're talking about two other cars, the Golf R and the Subaru STI, I think that in terms of interior, this loses. It comes in dead last. It's not a bad interior, but it definitely doesn't have those luxury features that the Golf R does, and I think the STI just has better materials. In terms of handling, I think this beats out the STI and the Golf R in the handling department. It handles really nice, especially for like a daily driver setup, and then it's just good. It feels really confident in the corners. I think the power band is really good on this car. I think it probably has a more consistent power band, at least with this tune, than the STI and the Golf R, but it loses in terms of price point. Unfortunately, it is the most expensive one of those three, unfortunately. I guess if you're really committed to track driving or you really love Evos, like, it's worth it, you know? But other than that, it does lose in that category. In terms of fun, I don't know. I haven't driven enough of an STI to compare it, but this is a lot of fun and very dailyable at the same time, which is good, because a lot of cars will be really fun but terrible to daily drive, or really good to daily drive but not fun really. This has a really good mixture of both. It's very comparable to the 2020 Mini Cooper Clubman John Cooper Works. They're very comparable, but I think this is a little bit quicker and a little bit more like track oriented, when the Mini is a little bit more like daily oriented. That is fun. That's a lot of fun. That is a really good pull. Alright, we're done driving the car hard. We're just taking it back, and we are gonna chill. So I'm gonna throw the AC on because I am sweating. Alright, so I'm gonna go over ratings now. If you're new or you forgot, how I do my ratings is off of two things basically: sportiness and daily ability. Both are out of 100, and then I'll give a final verdict saying would I buy the car or not. So, starting off in the sport category, I think it does a lot of things really well, has great handling, good acceleration, a really good power curve. The power band is really consistent, and you have a lot of space under the curve, which is what you want. It definitely feels really nice with the shifter. The brakes feel really, like, you feel very connected to the road in this car, more than a lot of other cars. So that is a really good thing in terms of sportiness. But yeah, handling is good, steering feels good, brakes feel good. There's really no complaints from me in the sport category, but I do feel like all of my ratings on previous cars, the ratings have been a little bit skewed. I've been giving kind of like 90s, and I feel like those should be reserved for cars that are like insane. This is a really, really nice car, great sport. So I'm gonna redial it back. I'm gonna give this an 85 in terms of sport. Now, if I were to go back and re-review my John Cooper Clubman, whatever, I would give that probably an 80 in performance and sport. So this is a little bit better than that. I think it's a little bit better than an STI, kind of similar around that kind of category, but it feels really nice. It definitely is more track oriented than a lot of things that I have driven. So in terms of daily ability, I think this is a pretty dailyable car, aside from the fact that you're missing a couple creature comforts, like any kind of infotainment or any screen in the middle, anything good, anything nice besides a CD. Like, you have a CD, you don't even have, I'm sure there's somewhere like where you can plug in a USB or an aux, but really just a CD and like a radio. The sound system is nice, which is unfortunate that the head unit is so lackluster. But other than that, like, it's pretty comfortable in here. The seats maybe can get bothersome after like a long drive, but I'm not really seeing it. They're really comfy. They do have that bolstering when you need it, but they're not bolstering you the entire time. So that's really nice. So for daily ability, I'm gonna give this like I'm gonna say this is gas mileage and count, and let's give it an 82 for daily. I think it's pretty good daily. All-wheel drive is nice for winter, but it's decently reliable, more reliable than the Golf and the STI, which is a really good point for it. Overall, though, could have a little bit more creature comforts on the inside. And then my final verdict on would I buy the car, yes or no. I always wanted one of these, so I would buy one. Now this is a weird situation, I would buy one if they were more affordable. But this car is a little bit outrageously priced, in my opinion, and that is kind of a deterrent. And I think a lot of people buying Evos, but they're not so easy to find, so that kind of that makes it understandable that they're kind of expensive. They didn't really make a lot of them. They stopped making them early, so what can you do? The market's the market, Well, with that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank my buddy for letting me review his car. If you want to see more of this car, his Instagram will be down in the description below, so check that out. If you want me to review your car, hit me up in the DMs, email, comments, whatever. However way you can say, hey, I want you to review my car, and we'll set something up and we'll get it going. If there's any car you want to see in particular, let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to do my best and try and find one that I can get behind the wheel of and really give you a good assessment on. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Please consider subscribing. I am so close to that 100 subscriber mark, and I am beyond grateful for everyone who has subscribed and supported so far. It really is nice seeing a lot of the good comments that you guys leave. I really appreciate people who give me nice comments, and I do appreciate those who give me critique comments. I got thick skin, so leave them down below. If you don't like something I said, tell me, and I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can level with you. So anyways, thanks for watching, and have a good one.